So, George, just for the people that are just hopping in on this thing, basically, the NFLPA agrees that if there's credible evidence in terms of a violation, then their players should sit for the interview. You're saying, and the players have contended, that there is not credible evidence, whereas the league is saying, in their opinion, there is credible evidence. Is that really what this is coming down to?
I think that's a pretty good explanation. So when the report first came out, I guess it was in December, there were all these names dropped in that report. And, the most notable one, obviously, was Peyton Manning. These 4 players were named in some way by a gentleman named Charlie Sly. As soon as that report was public, he came out and recanted everything. And the NFL has contended that based on that sole piece of evidence, as far as we know, that the players need to submit to not only an investigation, but an interview and all sorts of other things. We don't believe that is outlined in the CBA. Now, ultimately, when you are in a position like we are now, we're going to support the players in whatever they decide to do. They can, it's always been their choice as to whether or not to proceed with the interviews or not. The union's going to represent them. If they decide to move forward, the union will be there. If they decide to not sit down for the interview, the union will be there for them as well.
But what advice are you giving them, George?
Well, like everything else. So in any other situation that we've gone through over the last 6 or 7 years, these are your rights. These are the decisions that you have to choose from, and these are the consequences for each and risks for each of those decisions. So, again, we've talked about the rights. We don't believe that the league has a right to impose, the players coming in for an interview based on nothing. That is clear, and we certainly don't think they have any right to impose discipline based on what's out there. There is nothing out there. But obviously the risks to and the consequences to them denying that, if you take the league at their word, is that they'll be suspended indefinitely and miss games, which will obviously lead to another fight of some sort down the road. We don't want to be in that position. I certainly hope the league doesn't want to be in that position. It's disappointing that we're on the eve of another great NFL season, and the headlines are not about what's happening on the field, but what's happening off the field.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.